Everyone, welcome back to a new post today. Let's today discuss the most important topics that you need to keep track for governance from March 9th to March 14th. So the very first issue, during this period we had the budget session of the Parliament phase 2, and after a brief break where the budget estimates were looked into by the departmental related standing committees, and various panels had flagged out various issues. They brought up many important issues with regard to various developmental projects and also schemes of the government. And now in UPSC paper 2 we also have a topic with regard to the schemes, their implementation, designs and issues with their implementation. So the very first is about a parliamentary standing committee on rural development now accusing the government of failing to identify genuine beneficiaries for its flagship housing scheme Pradhan Mantri Gramin Yojana or pmjay. Now this scheme relies mainly on the socio-economic caste census of 2011, and which is a 14-year-old data. The report said that the financial aid also was given to the scheme was not being increased, and the center just provides 1.2 per lakh per unit in plains and 1.3 lakh per unit in northeastern states along with the Himalayan states. This is very less, the panel said, keeping in mind the inflation and also the rising cost of construction, demanding that it should be increased to 4 lakh per dwelling unit. Apart from that, the housing committee, the standing committee also brought out issues about not identifying new eligible beneficiaries and not removing the beneficiaries which were not eligible now, and this is one of the other issue as well. The committee strongly recommended that the total number of houses being planned under the scheme should also be increased to at least 3.46 crore, not forgetting to not leaving out the others which are now eligible under the scheme. There is a backlog of 1.46 crores housing and additional 2 crore housings to ensure fresh allocations beyond the existing backlog. So these are some of the other issues that have been identified by the Parliamentary Standing Committee. So this is the main advantage of parliamentary committees, with the work which cannot be done on a day-to-day basis in the Parliament or when the sessions of the Parliament are on. This is done by the Parliamentary Standing Committees. They go into the issues in detail and also analyze and identify issues with regard to various programs, projects, and also the demands of grants of the Government of India. Now, a similar issue has been flagged by a standing committee of the Home Affairs, which on health, which identified that the flagship health program of the government, that is Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, now the hospitals are not being penalized for the fraud and also regulation. It says that almost 3,200 hospitals should be penalized for the fraud with regard to implementation of the scheme. Regulation is needed to check the fraud, the committee said, on the demands of grants that were asked for this program. It noted there was misuse of funds under this program and also expressed concern about the way in which some hospitals were carrying out fraudulent activities on the part of its business model. It also said that penalties almost 1.22 crore, 122 crore which have to be levied have been pending, therefore bringing a loss to the Government of India. It also said that this coverage under the PM Jan Arogya Yojana, which covers 12.37 crore families, includes almost 40% of Indian vulnerable population, and therefore it says there is an abuse of the scheme, fraud. There are no steps taken to identify the fraudulent hospitals and also not to penalize them. The committee recommended therefore proactive, data-driven and transparent monitoring, especially of the implementation of the system, so that the real benefits can reach the people on time and that also frauds can be rooted out. The next is about the center now has made hubs operational to be developed for quantum computer technology and has earmarked funds for this. Now, the National Quantum Mission was approved with a fund of 6,000 crore for 8 years, and under this 4 institutes have been there are technology hubs being developed in 4 institutes, that is your IIT Madras, IIT Bengaluru, and apart from that you have Indian Institute of Science and and Technology, Bangalore, and also IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIT Madras, and Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. The states that will be getting an allocation for this is Uttar Pradesh getting 28 crore, then you have Maharashtra 3.34 crore, Karnataka 3.7 crore, and Delhi and Tamil Nadu 2.7 crore. The National Quantum Mission was approved by the Union Cabinet in 2023 with the outlay of 6,000 crore for 8 years, and under this, thematic hubs or T-hubs have been established as key technology verticals of quantum computing in these institutes. The next is about MPs raising the issue of questions not being answered in the Lok Sabha. Now, this is a part of their rights or the privileges being violated by the Lok Sabha itself. The Congress MP from Manipur, Bimol Akijom, had said that the question which he had sent to Lok Sabha regarding pacts with insurgents and armed groups in the northeastern states had been removed from the list of start question. Let me tell you, during the question hour, MPs have the right to ask ministers various questions. They are divided into start question, unstart question. Start questions are those which demand an oral answer and supplementary questions follow. Unstart questions are those for which a written reply is given and supplementary questions do not follow. So the question hour starts from 11 to 12 noon until the 0 hour is taken up. So various questions are asked. Apart from this, we have the Ministry of Mines now launching for the very first time the auctions under exploration license, which was actually under the state's power now, and this is the first tranche of auctions under the exploration licensing regime after amending rules to take charge of the exploration license following delays by the state government. So to encourage private exploration, the Mines and Minerals Act Development and Regulation was amended in August 2023 to introduce exploration license regime aiming to attract junior mining companies. Now, according to the EL regime, license holders will explore their blocks, and if minerals are identified, these blocks will be auctioned for mining license. The exploration license auction process follows a reverse bidding mechanism where the block is awarded to the bidder, quoting the lowest percentage share of the auction premium payable by the eventual ML or mining license holder. And the Mining Ministry took over the EL auctions in October after 6 out of 14 state governments that were handed over the blocks for exploration licensing did not initiate the process. Fragmented, uncoordinated auction of the exploration license blocks by different state governments have resulted in lack of response with regard to these blocks by the state government, and therefore a centralized auction system for exploration license has been taken up by the Minister of Mines. And under this, 13 blocks in 10 states have been covered, which include critical and deep minerals which are very important for the renewable energy sector, defense sector, aerospace sector, and also electronic sector. And minerals are gold, copper, diamond, zinc, rare earth elements, vanadium, zirconium. The states include Chhattisgarh for diamond, Jharkhand for gold and copper, Maharashtra for titanium and zinc, and Andhra Pradesh for rare earth minerals, Arunachal Pradesh for zinc, Gujarat for vanadium, Karnataka for gold and copper, Madhya Pradesh for platinum group elements, Rajasthan for rare earth elements, and Uttar Pradesh for zirconium. Now, this is going to boost the production in a further coming period of time for critical minerals in India, therefore reducing import dependency and also creating a new system of mining, and also the forward and backward linkage industries being developed thereby. Parliamentary panel of the centre is asked to rename the Agriculture Ministry and increase spending. Now, the Standing Committee of Parliament on Agriculture, headed by former Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi, has recommended a change in the name of the Union Ministry of Agriculture to reflect importance of farm workers too. It says that it should be the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare should be changed to Department of Agriculture, Farmers and Farm Labourers Welfare. The renaming offers several potential benefits, and it could acknowledge the significant role of farm labourers in the agriculture. Let me tell you that we have allocation of business rules that are given by the President of India to the various ministers, and this is possible by amending the allocation of business rules, changing the name of the ministry by the central government. Now, APRAR, or Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry, has been in news. It is nothing but a 12-digit number like the Aadhaar number, but given to students of India, and aim to achieve centers One Nation, One Student ID, which is an education ecosystem registry and also a EduLocker. Now, the student who has this ID number will also have access to a digital locker, which will include all the certificates and the data about the student in this digital locker. It is a specialized device identification system being developed in India, and it has been introduced in 2023 as a part of the National Credit and Qualification Framework. This unique ID has faced criticism from various areas, especially with regard to potential privacy issues, lack of transparency, concern about the implementation, particularly relating to parental consent and data protection. Centralized database. Now, the APRAN creates a centralized database of student data, raising concerns about vulnerabilities and the risk of data breaches. It also raises concerns about exploitation, surveillance, and profiling of the students. It also raises concerns about transparency regarding the data use and privacy policies associated with APRAN. The Ministry of Education started collecting the student data without releasing any law or policy documents relating to APRAN framework. There is also a lack of clear guidelines and procedures for implementing the ID system, leading to confusion and also challenges for the schools and the parents as well. Now, the government claimed that it made the ID enrollment voluntary. Parents report facing of pressure from the school to mandatory register the student on this APRAN, and also violates one of the judgments of the Supreme Court with regard that it should not be made mandatory and it should be left voluntary. Parents and teachers have reported technical glitches and logistics nightmares during the registration process. Apart from this, critics argue that the other APRAN ID is redundant, as teachers already provide information about the student on SARL system and central government's UDICE system. The next is about a Parliamentary Standing Committee on Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, headed by DMK MP Kanimoi. She said that the central government should meticulously now implement the scheme of distribution of fortified rice across the country, with particular emphasis on states with rice as a staple food. Now, the panel has said that it hopes to step up the contribution of fortified rice to eradicate malnutrition and also micronutrient deficiency. Let me tell you that the Union Cabinet has launched a scheme in very recently, and it has extended the scheme now for until 2028. The government has extended universal supply of fortified rice in all central government schemes, providing free food under the National Food Security Act in its present form until December 2028. Fortified rice scheme is mainly to address anemia and micronutrient deficiency. The Food Standard Safety Authority of India, the top country's food regulator, defines fortification as increasing deliberately the content of essential micronutrients in a food to improve the nutritional quality of the food and to provide public health benefit with minimal health risk. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs in 2024 decided to implement the scheme up to 2028. And the government failed to answer certain important questions of the Great Nicobar project, especially with backlash facing from the tribals in the Great Nicobar region of Andaman and Nicobar Islands with regard to a Great Nicobar development project, infrastructure project, which is having a port, a transshipment hub as well. Let me tell you that there are 8.5 lakh rainforest trees that are going to be felled for this mega port project, township project, and the Greenfield Airport, which is going to be developed at an estimated cost of 8,500 crore, clashes with the rights of residents, endangers biodiversity, livelihood, survival of indigenous tribal communities. It also has a potential to develop conflict of interest in the clearance it has to receive from various government agencies, and also the area falls under a tribal reserve area declared under Protection of Aboriginal Tribals Regulation Act of 1956, and therefore conflicts with the rights of tribals. The Government of India has now tabled in Parliament in Lok Sabha the Immigration and Foreigners Bill. This bill aims to strengthen India's borders and streamlines the law governing immigration and foreigners. It repeals the Immigration Carriers Liability Act of 2000 and also three pre-independent laws like Passport Act of 1920, Registration of Foreigners Act 1939, Foreigners Act of 1936. The main aim of the bill is to do away with pre-constitutional laws and also to bring about simplification in the language of the laws with regard to the legislation. It establishes a Bureau of Immigration and restrictions on foreigners. A Bureau of Immigration will be headed by a commissioner who will be assisted by foreign regional registration officers, foreigner registration officers, chief immigration officers, and immigration officers designated by the centre. The Bureau will fall under the centre's ambit and it will be in charge of performing immigration functions like regulating the entry and exit of foreigners along with other functions as given by the centre from time to time. Tamil Nadu now has decided to convene a meeting on delimitation issue, and this stems from the year that is being taken for the delimitation basis. The last time the delimitation was done, the census year 1971 population was taken into account for allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha. Now, after 2026, as the Article 82 of the Constitution says, the redrawal of the boundaries of the Lok Sabha seats in the states have to be done according to the recent census, and therefore they have been a pushback from the states like Tamil Nadu, which says that the delimitation exercise would penalize the states of southern India with regard to population control. They may lose out certain seats, and also there will be a decrease in number, while there will be an increase in number of MPs from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan and other areas of Madhya Pradesh which have higher population compared to other areas of India. Now, all party meeting was convened by Stalin. He proposed formation of a joint action committee comprising the members of the parliament and representation from the southern states to coordinate in a unified response to delimitation exercise. And he said that the exercise should be done on the 1971 census for the next 30 years. The meeting was attended by various political parties like AIADMK, the Congress, the Left, and also there were certain parties which did not go with Stalin, like the BJP, the Tamil Nationalist Party, Nam Tamilar Katchi, NTK, and Tamil Manila Congress, led by former Union Minister G.K. Vasan. The current delimitation exercise, which redraws boundaries of the parliamentary constituencies based on population data, would likely see a reduction of numbers in the MPs allocated to Tamil Nadu and other southern states who have low birth rates, and they have controlled the population compared to the north, which would gain seats at the cost of the south. The freeze was put in place in 1976. Since then, 1971 census was used for the basis of determining allocation of seats, and the freeze would expire in 2026 according to the 84th Constitution Amendment Act. And many political observers believe that once lifted, the states with high population like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan will gain a larger number of parliamentary seats. So delimitation, let me tell you, is an exercise of the process of drawing boundaries of the constituencies for based on population. According to Article 82 of the Constitution, allocation of Lok Sabha seats in every state must be adjusted based on population changes after every census, and the population of every constituency should be same or similar. And the decadal exercise has been going on since 1951. In 2021, the census was put off due to COVID, and since then the census also has been put off. Now, the ex-CJI removed certain loopholes in simultaneous polls. Let me tell you that there is a 129th Constitutional Amendment Bill that is being prepared for bringing out simultaneous polls in Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies. And the option of holding, there are certain changes that are going to be made in the Constitution. So with this regard, the CJI and Rajya Sabha member, the former CJI and Rajya Sabha member Ranjan Gogoi cautioned the Joint Committee of the Parliament about the constitutional validity of some provisions that will be added into the Constitution with regard to simultaneous elections. The 129th Amendment Bill of 2024 proposes to insert Article 82A Clause 5, which gives too much power to the Election Commission. It says that the option of not holding any particular assembly election along with the election of the Lok Sabha. So if the election commission is of the opinion that elections to any legislative assembly cannot be conducted along with the general election to the House of People, that's Lok Sabha, it may recommend to the President to declare by an order that the election of the legislative assembly shall be conducted at a later date. Two bills were introduced for this. So the Ranjan Gogoi says that this part can be misused by the Election Commission and actually gives too much or absolute power to the Election Commission to determine which state might go to the election or which state or the election of which state might be which can be called off and not being able to go simultaneously with the Lok Sabha. Elections were conducted simultaneously from 1952 to 1967 when the cycle was broken off, and the Law Ministry had appointed a high-level committee under the former President Ramnath Kovind to give recommendations how to implement the simultaneous elections to the Lok Sabha, the state and the union territory and the local bodies. The committee submitted its report to Draupadi Murmu in March last year, recommending amendments to enable simultaneous polls to the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies in the first phase and then local bodies. While the government introduced the bills in the first phase, it is yet to take a call on synchronizing local body elections. So there is no unanimity yet on the local body elections. The consultations are still going on. The government is also planning to create a website to draw in more opinions by the public on simultaneous polls. So these are the most important topics I thought I should be discussing with you all from March 9 to 14th. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video. I shall see you in my next post. Until then, it's very happy learning.